Our money system is the problem. Did you know this? Well, most people don't, and this is why we have compiled some very important information to show you how this has come to be and to propose the solution. For us to understand the problem, let's look at the basic concept of what money is and what gives it value. I think we can all agree that money is a medium of exchange, right? But there seems to be some confusion about why it is so valuable. Some say it has value because it is backed by something like gold. Some say it's because the government declared it as valuable. Some say it's because we trust it. And others, because it has a long, valuable history. But really, money has value because other people want it. Therefore, if you can pay for goods or services with it, it has value. Because the money system is the main problem, many other perceived problems are actually mere symptoms of this money system. Okay, let's think about this for a moment. What is a problem versus a symptom? The definition of a problem is a matter or situation regarded as unwelcome or harmful. A problem needs to be dealt with and overcome. A symptom is only a shadow of an actual problem. We often confuse problems with symptoms. We can only fix problems. Symptoms can be treated, but not fixed. With this money system as the foundation for many other systems, we see symptoms in government, corporate, legal, food, banking, education, media, economic, medical and political systems. Then eventually, closer to home, we can see these being the building blocks for our own symptoms in crime, depression and substance abuse. Do you see that when the money system is broken, all systems that depend on it collapse? What is the money system? It is the process of creating and destroying money. What we want to cover is the nuts and bolts, the rules that govern the creation and destruction of money in our economy. To explain the money creation system, we will use this simple tale. A long time ago, anything could be used to barter. If I had chickens and you had a goat and we wanted to trade, we could. Later, people found that coins were a more convenient way to trade and easy to put into a standard size. The commodity money system was born, based on precious metals such as gold, silver and bronze, which has uses other than a medium of exchange. In this story, one person became rich. He built himself a safe to keep his gold in. Other people then also became rich, but not rich enough to build their own safes. They asked if they could save their gold in the rich man's safe. He agreed and gave them a paper receipt to prove that their gold was in his safe. While providing a safe place to store gold, he also started lending out his gold and made money by charging interest. He soon noticed that nobody returned for their gold. They were using the receipts in the market as if it were the gold. He then realized that lending out receipts instead of the real gold worked just as well. He eventually started running out of his own gold to lend. But because nobody was returning for their gold, he started lending out gold other people kept safe with him. People found out that the rich man was charging interest on their gold. They also wanted a share of the interest he was earning. So, in the past, the rich man used to earn all the interest, but now he had to share this with others. This got him thinking, and thus the money system was born. Our rich man then decided to write out receipts for gold that was not really there. He could do this because nobody ever returned for the physical gold. This process was then later legalized and controlled through partnership between central banks and government. As the years passed and money became more digital, physical gold as backing disappeared completely. Over time, the fundamentals of money have changed. In the past, money was backed by physical resources like gold. But today, the partnership between banks and government make it possible for banks to create money out of nothing. Banks record promissory notes in the form of loan agreements that we sign to get loans as money. Banks record these loan agreements as assets on their books. They then balance their books by creating another form of promissory note, called fiat currency. Fiat currency derives its value from government regulation or law, declaring that citizens must accept this fiat currency as repayment of debt. Today, money is created through debt and then destroyed by repaying debt. Today, humans, corporations, institutes, governments, and parastatals All create money by lending it into existence. Today, our money is debt. Because money is debt, these facts reveal themselves. If there are no loans and no debt, there would be no money. Because money is destroyed by repaying debt, there would be no money if we all repaid our loans. Thus, the quantity of money is regulated by the number of loans in the economy. So if there are fewer loans, or if it is more difficult to get loans, money will become scarce. Our money system creates scarcity. Therefore, people want it. It has become more than just a medium of exchange. Because debt has interest, money moves from people creating debt to people who invest to earn interest. So, let's have a look at where we realistically stand with the debt situation. Every loan needs to be repaid with interest. But we only create the base money, not the interest. So where does this interest come from? We need to create more and more debt into the system to cover the interest. This requires a growing money supply. When we create a loan, we need to cover the interest by creating another loan. To cover the interest on those loans, we need even more loans. And so the vicious cycle continues. This system is unsustainable by design. We think of steady growth as a straight line, but this is actually far from true. You see, because growth is exponential. To explain exponential growth, let's do a simple experiment with bacterium in a jar. The bacteria doubles every 1 minute. So it starts with 1, then after 1 minute, it doubles to 2. After 2 minutes, it doubles again to 4, then 8, then 16, and so on. It takes 1 hour to fill the jar. Let's observe how the jar fills up with this mathematically correct simulation. With 45 minutes to go, we see almost no change. But at half an hour to go, we see some slow progress as the bacteria continuously doubles every minute. Barely visible up to 15 minutes to go. With 10 minutes to go, we see that more than 3/4 gets filled in the last 2 minutes of the growth. If we go back 1 minute, we see the jar is half full. This is because the bacteria will double in the next minute. If we go back 2, 3, 4, and 5 minutes before it being full, who would have thought there was a problem? In the early days of this system, a growing economy provided enough debt. But later we needed to make it easier and easier to get loans. Financial schemes were needed to create securities and derivatives to create more debt. Stimulus and bailouts from governments and banks were needed, and countries needed to create endless quantitative easing to sustain this exponential growth system. The gap between rich and poor continues to grow, with a disappearing middle class. When we compare this to the US debt graph, the picture becomes clear. Ultimately, using this money system means working against each other. Debt is bad for the individual, but creates more money collectively in the system. It is good for you as an individual to be debt-free, but if we were all debt-free, there would be no money, so someone needs to create the debt. If you as an individual don't pay your home loan, you will land in trouble, but collectively it creates more money in the system that can be used for trade. Having money in this system gives a false sense of ownership over other earthlings, property, and resources. Because our money system is based on scarcity, people have to go bankrupt just to make the system work. This causes self-worth issues for people, which result in symptoms like crime, depression, and substance abuse, and all the symptoms society show in scarcity. Creating big debts, for example, to buy war equipment, is bad for the individual, but it is one of the best ways to collectively create huge debt and therefore money. The system also disconnects us from nature, because most of the items we create debt for is unnatural. We create debt to buy cars, houses, and businesses. We need to maximize profits on these investments instead of creating sustainability. The system disconnects us from natural resources, encouraging use of finite resources by creating the debt to mine and buy oil, gas, coal, gold, iron, and copper. It also disconnects us from the environment by encouraging species extinction, water aquifer depletion, deforestation, and topsoil destruction, to name just a few. Our money system guides the way we think about the world and each other, and governs what we do with our time, where we live, what we eat, the job we have, and how we perceive others. The list is endless. With a broken money system, these destructive perceptions of people and our destructive relationship with the planet will continue. The good news is, we do not need to throw out what we have. All we have to do is change the way we think. We can do this by using a complementary currency. Complementary currencies do not replace existing currencies, but rather run in parallel with the existing currency. Usage, therefore, is completely voluntary. We can choose for what we stand for to be fundamentally built into our money system. We can choose a resource-based money system. In this system, we can value life and energy we give to each other above all. We can protect nature and all that it gives us. The complementary currency we promote is called OIC. OIC stands for Original Issue Currency. In this case, original issue is defined as a sustainably issued resource. Everything we do or buy that steals from the future or takes from the past waters down the originally issued resource. A simple explanation of what originally issued resources are in terms of transport is, by walking, you do not take anything from the future or the past. Therefore, it is 100% originally issued. But if you travel by plane, you are using finite energy resources that took thousands of years to create. Because the resources are finite, you are also depleting future use thereof. This will water down the original issue completely. The basic principle is easy. Instead of the banks creating money as debt, we propose that money gets created by the people for their originally issued resources. We normally write the value of something like this: $10.50. The first part is the currency symbol, and the second part is the amount. With OIC, we write the value of something like this: 1050 100% OIC. It also starts with the currency symbol, and then the amount, but then displays the original issue component at the end. The original issue component is what we can create. With OIC, what is bought and sold becomes important. Buying carrots from your neighbor is totally different than buying it from the store. Our money system should support this difference. Here is an example of how OIC works. There are 3 suppliers of carrots close to me. The first one is the general store. Then there is Alex and Sam. They have the ability to upload their carrots onto the OIC trading website with the prices they want. All products are rated depending on the resources issued to produce the product. The rating is made easy by asking multiple choice questions. Carrots, for instance, would fall under the category of fruit and vegetables. In the case of fruit and vegetables, the following is asked: where does the seed come from? How is the soil prepared? What fertilizer, pesticides and herbicides, if any, is used? Where is the water source from? What packaging, if any, is used? And how is it being transported to the point of sale? The original issue percentage is calculated depending on the answers. In the case of the general store, the answer results in 0% creation potential, because the process is destructive. The buyer will then have to pay the full 50 OIC from his account. In Alex's case, the answer results in 80% creation potential. This means that the buyer can create 64 OIC and 60 needs to be paid from his account. In Sam's case, the answer resulted in 100% creation potential. Because the buyer has enough creation potential for the month left, the full amount can be created from his positive balance. This means that the balance before and after the transaction will be the same. With OIC, the majority is in control instead of just a few individuals. OIC is a decentralized money system that is in contrast with the centralized money systems. By consciously having all the people that use the money in charge of the money system, we are able to control the money supply. We can choose to be connected to each other. With OIC, we are able to create money for each other. This binds us together instead of pulling us apart. We can choose to be connected to nature by making natural and organic, locally produced items cheaper for the buyer and more profitable for the seller. OIC encourages sustainable and locally produced items. We can choose to be connected to resource usage By making the use of finite resources expensive, people will naturally be attracted to using more sustainable resources. By using debt-based currency, we only create jobs when there is money in the system to pay for employees. With OIC, we create jobs for each other that supports individual entrepreneurship. With our debt-based money system, we rely on the confidence of bankers to determine how much money can be created. With OIC, money is regulated depending on the amount of resources available, with a full range of technologies to our disposal in a resource-based money system. OIC rewards people instead of corporations. By creating money for people, the real value will move back to people and away from corporations that promote consumerism. OIC builds communities instead of driving them apart. By creating money for each other, we are naturally looking after each other. OIC rewards people who have earth-friendly initiatives instead of short profit-seeking schemes, depleting future resources. Essentially, you can choose to stop the hurt and start the healing. Please share and subscribe. If our work resonates with you, please donate on our YouTube channel or Facebook page. Every cent helps.